Hello, everybody. Welcome and thank you for tuning in to Just Bleed Radio. Today's Sunday, the 9th of March, 2025, and this is the Weekend Roundup.
DJ, kick that shit.
Now, everybody watch 313, put your motherfucking hands up and follow me. Everybody watch 313, put your motherfucking hands up. Look, okay, the fights might be in Vegas, but how can I not dedicate this card to the city of Detroit? Welcome to the Weekend Roundup, episode 44. Hello, please allow me to introduce myself. I'm your discombobulated host, DangerMouse. I haven't had the easiest day today, pulling this show together. Sometimes you just feel tired, you feel weak, and when you feel weak, you just want to give up. But you got to search within you, find that inner strength, and just pull that shit out of you, and get that motivation to not give up and not be a quitter, no matter how bad you want to just fall flat on your face and collapse. So, with that advice in mind, it's time to rendezvous with your buddies at Just Bleed Radio. I don't want to just be talking to myself, so I'm not afraid to introduce a man who likes to be higher than the rest of us. It must be the ganja. It's LazyBed. How's things going, mate?
I'm already appreciating all these Eminem references. I think this is gonna be a long show. But yeah, I'm here in my Hana. I'm high on marijuana, but unfortunately Sunday the gods said no chama. Tough go for Team LazyBed, but I'm here.
Nice one. And he's our very own killer, but I say that with no venom because he's a nice guy. He's a good guy. Always happy to crack a bottle with our favourite Californian. Hey up, Austin. Apart from Mike issues, how's things?
Good. They can't complain. The fights were interesting. The weekend is still with us, so not for much longer. But can't complain when Lazy loses 5 points.
What the
We'll get on
fuck?
to that. All right, I'll just remind everyone. All right, I'll just remind everyone to like and subscribe. Leave us a comment, even if it's just to say you hate one of us, and we'll crack on with the card, which I couldn't stay wide awake for. Was it the same old song and dance, or were we going to get something insane? So it's curtains up and time for some fight music. Let's get some brain damage and on with the card. Seems appropriate when Mauricio Ruffy defeated Green, I'm not going to call him King, by knocking his crown off by spinning wheel kick, 2 minutes 7 of round one. Green looked hesitant from the off, lacked his usual movement and bounce. Didn't take long for Ruffy to land the KO of the spinning kick. I might be going a bit early there, but it's surely going to be a contender. He feinted a left hook, stepped through into a spinning kick, and that caught Green straight on the temple, bounced him off the cage, and then he just stared down at Green like a discarded toy. It was an absolutely brutal walk-off KO. Fortunately, we didn't see Green being down too long on the canvas. And who wants to take this one away and say something about this fight?
Well, I think I can certainly go first here. Yeah, man. The self-proclaimed king was uncrowned by a spinning heel with an apparent strong distaste for monarchies. Oh boy, Mauricio Ruffy, man, them fighting nerds, they ain't no fucking joke. Down with the king. Not a ton you can take away from this. Relatively small sample size and frankly reliable results from Green here. This is basically what you've come to expect from him at this point in his career. While it is fun to see, fighting with your hands down, it's not really conducive to good striking defense. Like it's not smart. Maybe it was smart at 28, but not when you're 38. And unfortunately for Bobby, he's the 38-year-old in this equation. And reflexes, timing, not all quite there. Not the way that it used to be, anyhow. Yeah, man. As soon as I saw this, though, I thought of Robin Black because this was a spinning, whirling pirouette of death. Bink. But yeah, man, it's something that I did wish that I saw later in the night instead. Maybe in the main event, that would have been an acceptable result. But nevertheless, very fun. Like you said, DangerMouse, likely a contender for knockout of the year already, and we're only in month, 3? So, yeah, man, really fun. A fun ride, but much like the 1990s hit cartoon, Bobby's World is canceled. Ruffy and the Fighting Nerds rode the lightning all the way to another win, and Green was crowned King Nothing.
It's a I think we picked Ruffy by virtue of him just eventually finding a point. Correct? I think none of us thought that King Green would have been capable of winning unless it went to like the third round, and it would have been like a tempted decision. I think that he would have won. Right? We're either Ruffy was going to win early, or Green could have won late, and it was the latter that, or the first, I should say, that ended up happening. And you could tell that Green, God damn it, you had hope that Green could at least make it look like a fight, and that was the thing that didn't happen, because he's capable of looking good and looking good against certain opponents. Unfortunately, tonight he never even got to get started. He literally started to get clipped. Ruffy did not give him an opportunity to get set up at all. Matter of fact, he kept cutting him off, kept landing pretty decent shots. Ruffy, I don't think, was playing with his food. I think he was just, I'm here, I'm going to get the finish, and we're going to get some airtime for our team. And that's what happened. He literally fucking got a spinning head kick knockout that could probably be knockout of the year if it really wants to. It was great. You can't argue with how the finish came. You can't argue with how he looked. Ruffy looks like the real deal in this division, and he just found himself, I believe, if not in the rankings, he's not very far from it. He handled Green the way a top prospect should handle a veteran in this division, and he looked good doing it. It's unfortunate for Green. Looks like that might be the end of his tenure as a ranked lightweight, but you know, that's part of the sport, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, what do we think of Ruffy's call out after he won? I'm pretty sure he called out Beneil Dariush.
Oh, did he? I didn't hear that. Yeah, by all means. Doesn't sound a terrible thing.
I don't like it because I love Benny and I don't want to see him get killed. But if they book it, they book it. I would probably prefer him. I would probably prefer him fight Jalen Turner.
I might actually be getting confused. So yeah, let's just move on.
I'm not sure on the
somebody
rank.
called out. Somebody called out Benny, and I'm pretty positive it was him, but I don't quote me on it.
Okay.
God damn it,
Dave! You heard that? Definitely don't quote Lazy, especially if he's wrong.
Absolutely. O que vocês acham? Las Vegas, me fala vocês. Maurício Ruffy versus Dariush, talvez Fight Night. O que vocês acham?
Hey, Las Vegas, absolutely. What do you think? Mauricio Ruffy, Beneil Dariush, a Fight Night main event. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely then.
Okay, on with the next fight, which we had Amanda Lemos defeating Yasmin Lucindo by unanimous decision. A depressing 15 minutes of women's MMA, a fight only noticeable because Lucindo failed to land a single strike in the first 10 minutes. I should have stuck with my bias against neck tattoos and gone with the MILF pick like Austin did. Come on, PFL, get your act together and get me a Dakota Ditcher for fix. Please, please. Does anyone want to say anything on this fight?
I mean, I picked her, Amanda Lemos, only because her experience showed that was it.
Yeah,
23 years old. Yasmin Lucindo, like, she just looked like she wasn't ready for a top, an upper tier echelon opponent. Like, that's what it looked like to me. Like, experience just wasn't on her side, despite her being capable. She just looked like she wasn't ready for this type of competition. Amanda Lemos proves again she may be older, but she's definitely not slowing down anytime soon. So good on her. Great win. Then on to the next one.
Lazy, anything to add on this?
I guess if I gotta,
You don't have to.
that,
you can pass straight on.
Well, one of the funnier moments of this fight was I think one of the rounds ended early, and somebody commented on the Discord, I believe it was, saying, "Oh, did that round or did that horn sound early and the round end early?" And I think I said, I hope it did, or I wish it had, but uh, yeah, I mean, one of several fights on this card that I just got completely wrong. I thought that the younger fighter here, the more spry, athletic, bouncy Lucindo was going to come out and kind of work Lemos over. I thought that Lemos was going to be a more plodding uh, fighter and looking to land the overhand and the power shots like she tends to. And that really wasn't the case. I mean, Lucindo was never really able to get out of first gear, never really able to get going. And Lemos, as Austin said, just kind of veteran savvy and big sistered her. And, it is what it is. Tough loss, but she is really, really, really young. So hopefully she can bounce back. She's got a lot of good experience already in her career. So I think we'll see more of Lucindo moving forward. And yeah, nice win for Lemos.
Yeah. Up next, we had Ignacio Bahamondes defeating Jalen Turner by submission. Triangle choke, 2:29 of round one. This was the Battle of the Bean Poles, two 6'3" guys. I guess the real question was, how would they both handle a tall opponent? Because I don't think, well, it's highly unlikely anyone had fought, either of them had fought someone the same height as them. Turned out what they did was go to the ground, and then Bahamondes ended up using his long legs and working his way to a super slick triangle submission. I think is this one where he slid off his back and kind of rolled through, and the next minute Turner knew he was tapping as his arm was being torn apart. And I'm not sure if Jalen Turner. They said in the commentary booth that Jalen Turner were taking his gloves off in the cage, so maybe meaning that he'd retired. You never know, of course, but he might just be that his hands hurt. So I guess what next for Jalen Turner and what next for Ignacio Bahamondes? And I know Lazy will be dying to talk about this one, so I might as well pass it over to him straight away.
Well, yes, DangerMouse, I would like to talk about this fight. Dave, hit the sound drop. Give me my Joe Martinez. That's where I'll put it in. Yes, my man. The obvious number one front runner for sexiest name in the UFC. My favorite name to say. I say it to myself when I'm alone, when I lie in bed at night, as I stare up at the ceiling and I daydream, and I say, Ignacio Bahamondes. Fantastic name. Anyway, moving on. See, here's the thing about tarantulas, guys. They're really not too dangerous if they're kept in la jaula. That's the cage. Keep them fucking tarantulas in the cage, and they present you no problems. There was a wayward takedown attempt early in the fight by Nacho. That did lead to some brief but valuable top time for Turner. It did have me momentarily questioning some of my preview show remarks about Nacho's high fight IQ, but turns out I was right. Turner's IQ is way worse, just like I thought it was. It literally just hangs around in Nacho's guard as he locks up the triangle. No urgency, no eagerness to escape. Just fucking chilled there. Let him lock it in. Quick tap followed, and then as we've mentioned, Jalen, laying down the gloves as he's leaving the octagon. Apparently squatted down, had a moment with the commentary booth, and told them that he was done. And then the commentary remarked that his corner was actually trying to talk him out of it, which I get that, guys, but maybe do that behind the scenes. Seems kind of weird to be trying to talk your guy out of a life decision like that. Anyways, Nacho Daddy, my guy, Bilal Muhammad, best bud, BFFs. This is what happens when you train with the champ. This is what happens when you train with the king of the shy. Guys, I'm just trying to tell you. Nacho here was plus 1,100 by submission. So there was definitely some sharp or crazy person out there that called that one and made a heap of fucking money.
Yeah.
So yeah, big money Bahamondes made it look easy out there. If this is the end of the road for the tarantula, as he claims, happy scurryings, but after his recent run, he definitely needs to spray some Raid on his MMA career. So, see you later, Jalen.
Yeah. Should have said there, Ignacio Bahamondes did get a 50k performance of the night bonus for that fight.
Cha-ching.
Exactly. Austin, what you got to say on this 150 seconds?
Disappointment is all I can think of, because it's like, damn it, I thought Jalen would be capable of finding a route to victory against an untested young man in the top 15. But I mean, shit. It sucks, because I was rooting for Jalen to kind of have a bounce back performance, because I had a lot of faith in him being capable of winning and kind of turning his career around. And he just decided that, once he was caught, it was over. And I think, as much as I hate to admit it, that, when a younger athlete says he's done, let him be done. Like Lazy said, it's kind of probably not the time or place to be trying to talk him out of his career retirement. You save that for later or give it a couple of days. But, as far as Bahamondes, look good, man. I mean, I didn't think he was capable on the ground. I was wrong. He showed me, and I look forward to seeing what he could do at the rest of the division, the top 15. It sucks. Happy trails, Jalen. Hopefully you don't let your tarantulas out of the cages again like they did last time. True story, by the way. But not just, I hope he enjoys retirement, and if he's truly done, I hope to never see him fight again.
That takes us on to the co-main event at lightweight. Justin Gaethje against Rafael Fiziev, where Justin Gaethje defeated him by unanimous decision, 29-28 across all the judges' cards. It's a fight where Justin Gaethje came in with all black gloves. Apparently, the UFC logo fell off while he was warming up. I don't quite understand how exactly that happened. We had Fiziev looked pretty good in round one, especially he had 2 takedowns early on, which prior to that, the only person who had taken Gaethje down, if I'm correct, was Khabib Nurmagomedov, and Fiziev managed to. He ended up at one point in sort of a mounted triangle, but he couldn't quite get it locked on and sink it in. So he just resorted to dropping 12-6 elbows to Gaethje's body. As we've seen in another fight fairly recently. No tap from Justin, though. So we went into the second round. This one came out again. They were going backwards and forwards. And then Gaethje landed a beautiful left hook. Sorry, not left hook, sorry, an uppercut that dropped Fiziev to the floor. And then obviously that round was Gaethje, so we went into the third wondering where it was going to go. And then Fiziev came out strong, looked pretty good. And then just from kind of the middle of the round, Gaethje started taking the center of the cage, and he just looked stronger and stronger in the last part of the round. And it ended up with Gaethje taking it unanimous decision, 29-28. A great fight overall. It wasn't conducted at flat out pace. It was much more measured by Fiziev and Gaethje. Possibly by Fiziev because he hadn't had a camp. He came onto this fight on, I believe it was 12 days notice. Gaethje obviously was training for Dan Hooker on this one. But yeah, Gaethje managed to get it done. He walks away with the win, which surprised a lot of people. And this is the moment where I should really be crowing and saying, I told you, bastards. So I told you. But when I was just doing the last moment of my picks, this was the last pick I had to make, and I vacillated and and ahed and racked my brains what I was going to do, and at the last kind of minute I switched to Fiziev. So I'm really fucking sorry, Justin. I should have had faith in you. I mentioned something about having faith. So my apologies, Justin. I am a worm. And with that, I will just, I don't know who wants to take this one away. Who wants to have the first go at dancing on my grave on that admission? I should really give it to Austin. He loves to declare things legally binding.
I mean, you probably would have been right had you picked with your gut like you should have, but oh no.
At least I came clean on air. I came clean on air. So.
Fair, I guess. Sure. I mean, here's the truth. Justin's not done, man. Thank goodness too, because the last time we saw him, he was face down on canvas. Took him a while to get back up at UFC 300. Thankfully, bounced back with a performance reminiscent of his first fight with Rafael Fiziev. And realistically, man, he looked good and capable. Wasn't perfect. You can kind of tell he's getting a little up there, but he looked like he was still capable of making a run. And I think that was the thing, is that like we weren't sure if that Justin Gaethje would still be there. He proved me wrong. Because he was a good fighter, and that's the thing. Where Fiziev putting the grappling on first was a surprising factor, and it probably caught Justin off guard just enough to where he had to kick it up a notch. And being this was like 12 days notice for Fiziev, who'd probably been training, but not for a fight. He looked good.
Yeah, he had been training. That was one of the reasons I made my switch, because he had been training.
I'd imagine Fiziev kept in shape, right? And he looked like it. He put up Justin on the back foot early, and he put him in some uncomfortable positions, made him work, and then that old school Justin of I grab you with the collar tie and throw a hook or an uppercut in the clinch. I was like, oh man, I had not seen that guy in a minute. You did it, man. I mean, you can't even mad. It was the fight of the night, right? I mean, shit.
It was, yeah.
Great performance from Justin. I don't know who the hell you put him up against next, because this division's in fucking clusterfuck.
Well, Justin didn't call him out, but as Gaethje is ranked at number 3, arguably it should be Islam next.
No, I don't think so.
I know Islam said he'd like that fight. He wouldn't mind it.
He should have had the opportunity a year ago, but it's different. But, I don't know. I don't know what you do with them.
Yeah, one thing I did mean to mention was I didn't notice a lot of leg kicks from Gaethje. I'd love to see the stats, but he didn't seem to throw very many of them at all.
Yeah, that's true. I think, in fact, I might have wrote something down about that.
I think somebody was comparing it to Aldo, saying at the end of his career he didn't throw very many leg kicks either, and maybe Justin's following that same routine.
It's possible. Oh, I guess it's my go now, huh?
It sure is.
See, well, first let me touch on what's next for Justin. Should he maybe be next in line for the title? Yeah, probably, but I think we all know exactly how that goes, because we've seen it happen before. He gets rear naked choked. Islam's just gonna fucking do the same thing Khabib did to him, and Justin's been susceptible to that his whole fucking career from grapplers. He gets RNC'd pretty easily. So while he might deserve a title shot, I don't know that I necessarily want to see that, because I think it's an inevitable L for him. But anyway, start with I had a tagline for all these fights. Start with my tagline for this one. Springfield residents ecstatic as local fighter Homer Gaethje finds himself back on the winning trail. Justin Gaethje, the ultimate Homer Simpson of MMA. Take one to give one, doesn't care. Fucking punch him in his big giant melon. He's just gonna keep coming forward. Dow, hit me again. Dow, I'll keep coming. The chin held up great though. The chin, which was the big question mark coming into this one after the Holloway knockout, held up great. The time off served him well. But yeah, DangerMouse, me and you, we always have pretty similar notes. And one of the first things that I wrote down here was Fiziev scores his first takedown since 2020. The third most surprising thing since coronavirus. The second most surprising was Justin Gaethje also trying to wrestle in this fight. Didn't see that coming. But yeah, Fiziev becomes the only man besides Khabib to take Gaethje down more than once. Pretty fucking interesting tidbit that I don't think anyone's seen coming there. If you're Gaff or Long Island Luke on the main card minute, they like to play the takedown props on the betting. So if you had a takedown prop in this fight and you had, Fiziev at 2 takedowns or whatever it is, you probably made some money there. But anyway, one of the interesting things that happened in this fight that I haven't heard much anyone point out or talk about on any podcast, the UFC production booth isolated a moment early on in the fight. I want to say maybe even round one, where Rafael Fiziev tore a big ass patch of skin, partially off of his big toe on the mat. Yeah, and that fucking piece of skin was just a hanging Chad flapping in the wind, and it was disgusting, very gross. I can't imagine that felt very good. And I've heard before that the ads that they put on the mat can be very abrasive, and yeah, something fucking tore the skin off that dude's foot, and it was disgusting. But then also, like you said, DangerMouse, the weird face sitting triangle moment in that round for Fiziev in the first, the takedowns and the damage throughout. I gave that first round 10-9 Fiziev. Justin brought it far more in the second. He located that uppercut that Rafael never seemed to pick up throughout the fight from there on. Big nasty knockdown off of that. Great chin on Fiziev though. But with the damage and the domination in that second round, I actually went with a 10-8 for Justin.
Wow.
This was one of the only fights that I had scored, maybe the only fight that I had scored. But yeah, I actually went a 10-8 round two for Justin. And then right here, I wrote down Justin oddly not throwing any calf kicks, question mark. Kind of weird. Well, what's going on there? Maybe the Aldo effect late in the career, not wanting to throw them. I don't know, but huge part of his game. So to see that not really being prevalent was kind of strange. Also became super apparent to me during this fucking second round. For some reason, the size difference in these two, like Justin looks huge compared to Fiziev. Rafael may want to consider going down to 145. Hot take, possible. I don't know.
I
And
don't
then
know if
lastly,
he can make it.
yeah, but he's not big. Like a little bit of fucking discipline, I think he could make it. Anyways, final notes on this co-main event. Third round, Fiziev had his moments early, but Justin was really the one pressuring and landing. Easily looked to be the fresher guy. Implemented some wrestling of his own, as I had mentioned. Fiziev never really went back to the lead knee, which he had found some success with earlier in the fight. Justin likes to dip his head when he throws, but could have used some more of that, more head kicks maybe. The late notice fill-in didn't really do him any favors for his cardio, although he did hold up well. I think that was mainly due to him pacing himself better. And then the last thing that I wanted to say is Gaethje in his post-fight interview, the guy's starting to sound more like Sean Strickland voice-wise. Like he's getting that raspy, kind of gravelly. Here's the thing, guys. I love America. Dude, shut the fuck up, man. Shut up.
All right. I wasn't sure if you were done there. That just leaves us without, well, it doesn't just leave us, but that leads us to our main event. Magomed Ankalaev defeats Alex Pereira by unanimous decision. 49-46, 48-47, 48-47. We had round one. Alex came out, landing leg kicks like they were going out of fashion. I think he landed about 15. And by the end of that round, Ank's corner was trying to convince him that he could see the kicks coming, which is kind of funny because he clearly couldn't see those kicks coming. But that first round, I think it was about 4 minutes before Alex actually threw a punch. And then round two, Ankalaev hurt Alex badly right at the end of the round with a left hook of his own. Again, a touch of irony there. And I was thinking by the time I was watching this is an absolutely nerve-wracking fight. I was thinking Poatan isn't looking super strong. And then he spent the round three, he spent most of the round going backwards. Even if he was landing more of the strikes, it never looks good. I'm not sure if he won that round or not. Round four was no dispute who won that one. It was Ank who just ground Alex up against the cage. Goddard did manage to separate him at one point, but Ank took it back to that situation again, which is quite right. Why the hell wouldn't you? And then round five, Ank kind of backed off a little bit. He wasn't putting a lot of pressure on. He did allow Alex to take control for most of that round, I thought. And God damn it, you can't take anything away from him. Ankalaev, he said he was going to stand with Alex, and for the most part, outside of round four, he did. So yeah, a new champion, not one I wanted. I picked Alex to be light heavyweight by the end of the year, which I guess with a rematch he could be. Which I guess again we should discuss whether that's what's going to happen next. I don't think it's been declared. Maybe someone knows something from the press conference. As far as Alex's future career, well, maybe going up to heavyweight, but does Alex look quite so good to John Jones now that he's lost to Ankalaev? Does that take a touch of the shine off his reputation? And seeing as I know this is the man who this fight cost 5 points on our draft and who is shedding tears as we speak, LazyBed, what you got to say on this one, my friend?
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, I'll add the caveat before I begin that I'm obviously going to be biased here. Lost me some points. First time anyone in our little fantasy draft here has ever lost any points. So historic first for old LazyBed, albeit a loser first.
And I'm going to mention it now without revealing anything, Lazy. I think you're going to get first in the edit as well.
Oh.
You'll have to find out on Monday for that.
Not sure how I feel about this. But anyway, anyways, yeah. Despite stone hands, a stationary boulder does no damage, and that is what our guy Poeton, and I say our guy, probably just my guy, whatever, the people's fucking guy Poeton. He was a stationary fucking boulder last night. He was not the object in motion that stays in motion. In fact, he was opposite. Half the time he was fucking moving backwards if he was moving at all. Yeah, man. Sorry, I'm not sure that I can actually get through this due to how hoarse my throat is from screaming, "For the love of God, throw your fucking hands at my TV." Take nothing away from Ankalaev. Take nothing away from Ankalaev, but what the fuck was this performance from Pereira? What was this? Very hesitant. Very, very hesitant. Say what you want about the forward pressure or the striking of Onk, but something did not seem right. Something was off. Something was not correct. Pretty predictable, boring, but effective performance from the Russian. Poeton did manage to stuff all 11 of Magomed's takedown attempts. But he didn't seem like himself in there. Poeton did not seem like himself. I think that, like many people have speculated leading up to this fight, maybe he was taking a bit too much time to do press stuff, media obligations, different shit around the world, traveling, doing this and that, popping up with this fighter, showing up at LFA on the fucking night you're cutting weight before the fucking fights. I don't know. I think maybe the stardom and the money and all the fucking bright lights got to Alex's head a little bit, and he didn't take this fight as seriously as he should. Or maybe he was scared. Maybe he was fucking petrified of being taken down, and he was more worried about the wrestling than he let on. And I don't know, but either way, the performance didn't look right. So I'll take my -5 points because the fight that Alex fought Saturday night warranted a deduction. Disappointed.
Damn.
You should have said, "I'll take my -5 points because I'm a man." God damn it! But you didn't. But with that, so I'll pass it over to Austin with that little segue.
Yes. I wasn't the only one that picked Ankalaev, but on this panel,
Out of pure hate,
for our show, I'm just saying. It's not that I'm gloating that I was right. I was just expecting more from Alex, like Lazy was saying. And to be fair to Ankalaev, he brought the pressure. You know what was reminiscent of this fight was the fight between Sean Strickland and Israel Adesanya. The minute Adesanya got hit, the fight changed. The minute he was dropped, his entire game plan went out the window. I don't believe that's exactly what happened here, but because Ankalaev was determined to give him forward pressure and took away his weaponry by closing the distance and not giving him space to maneuver as much as he wanted to, like Lazy said, he had been maneuvering around the outside of the cage, next to the fencing, behind the black lines, right? And that's not how Alex Oliver, that's not how he fights. He's usually the one bringing the pressure and landing a combination. He had no ability to do that. And that's because Ankalaev took that away from him. So credit to Ankalaev for doing the game plan. And like, we'd seen, in my opinion, this was a very close fight. I was very, despite, picking on Ankalaev, I was unsure of how the scorecards were going to come in. And truth be told, I was nervous watching some of these engagements because at certain points, Ankalaev would allow himself to kind of give space. And you could see Alex try to come back and counter. And they landed on each other, except Ankalaev was never truly knocked off balance. But, the knockdown that came from in the second, that was like the turning point of the fight, pretty much. And Ankalaev just never let it get away from him until the fifth. By that point, he was already getting, lackadaisical because he had been putting on such a decent performance that Pereira had no choice but to try to finish him. He almost did. He clicked him, but he couldn't capitalize on it because Ankalaev was ready. If it's a case where we're looking at Ankalaev finally arriving, he did. When you're in the title fight, your perception of who you are changes. Your ability to perform on the night usually means that you've arrived. And with Pereira, Lazy said it best. He might have just been all over the place doing too much. If you're not focused on your opponent will make sure you regret it. And he regretted it, regardless of how he feels about the scorecards tonight. And sometimes boring is necessary to win a fight. I didn't particularly think it was boring, but again, it's not his job to make it entertaining. It's his job to win the fight, especially when a belt's on the line.
Quite correct. Right, on to the prelims then, having done the exciting stuff. At middleweight, Jordan Santos versus Ozzy Diaz, which I have to give a shout out to our producer Dave, Chatri, and Stephen. Although I was going to say they've all got the balls to pick Diaz in this one, but of course only Dave out of those three has balls as far as I understand things. Sorry, Chatri and Stephen. Fun scrap to open the card. Pretty solid 15 minutes of high-paced action. Despite the crowd booing early on, fair number of calf kicks in round one, but it switched into a mainly boxing fight. I noticed Diaz checked one of Santos's calf kicks, and he really didn't throw very many after that. In the first round, they did throw a few more in the fight, but not very many. Apparently, it really, really hurts when you check a kick very well. Primarily a boxing fight, very back and forth affair. Both men had the moments. Significant strikes or scores had Santos ahead in rounds 1 and 2, but it was Diaz who took the win. I think he landed the harder strikes in round 2, steal it from Santos. His straight right that he was throwing, his 2 was a lot of success he was getting from that blow. Slightly controversial. Santos didn't look happy he'd lost this one. I would have happily given it to Santos, but I didn't have a massive objection to Diaz getting it. And anything to say on this one, guys? I think we're on. Austin, it must be your turn.
No, I mean we all picked. Everybody, I think, and their mother picked against Diaz, Ozzy, and rightfully so. He had not won in the UFC, I don't believe, and damn it, we were wrong. Shout out to Ozzy for proving us wrong. Good for him. I mean, I didn't really care if he won or lost this fight, but I mean, hey, proving everybody wrong is a nice feeling.
If I'd seen them stood next to each other, I might have picked Diaz. He was massive. Lazy, anything quick on this one?
Yeah, well, first off, I had asked EKC Lyden, training partner of Ozzy Diaz, prior to this fight in the MMA fighting preview show shit leading up to this, how he felt about his buddy Ozzy Diaz going into the fight. And he himself didn't sound very confident. Something that our guy, Long Island Luke, pointed out last night on their watch long. So I think that we were all kind of right to not have much confidence in him. And I'm not really sure he won this fight. I mean, technically he won it on paper, but did he actually win it? I don't know. Realistically, I wasn't paying close enough attention to it to say though. So, yeah, I mean, good for you, Ozzy Diaz. You're 34 and you're now, 10-2 or 11-2, one or the other. But yeah, shout out.
Next fight on the card was at featherweight, Mayron Santos defeating Francis Marshall by split decision, 27-30, 29-28, 29-28. This one, really, really close. First round, Marshall landed an overhand left that stunned Santos. That stole the round for him without a shadow of a doubt. Round 2, we had Santos. He was bloodying Marshall's nose up, and he was leading the dance. And then Marshall managed to get a takedown with about a minute to go. I don't know if that was enough to take what was mostly a striking round. At that point, the live odds had it minus 620 for Marshall at the start of the third. And then round 3, Santos occupied the centre for most of the round, but he didn't really look being busy enough to be a man who was 2 rounds down, or apparently was 2 rounds down. It turned out he wasn't. And then Santos was somehow giving it. I think it's lazy. Anything quickly to say on this one? Actually, you can be relatively, take your time.
Well, this is one of the ones that I watched a bit closer because I like both these guys. Francis Marshall, while not really highly touted, he's a fun guy. He's always in scraps, and he is a pretty well-rounded fighter. Myron Santos, of course, coming off of The Ultimate Fighter, had the big KO win in the finale of, I think it was last season's stuff. It's hard to keep track anymore. But yeah, I mean, so both these guys, have their upsides and are fun fighters to watch. Fight didn't disappoint necessarily. It didn't have a ton of, knockdown, drag 'em out moments, but it was a fun back and forth affair. You could say one of 2 back-to-back fights that had a bit squirrely of scorecards, but I mean, I'm not complaining, but I had Myron Santos in the picks on the Discord, so can't take too much from me. I did have a funny line on this, though. The fire marshal, that's Francis Marshall's nickname, the fire marshal has no jurisdiction in Las Vegas. Francis needed a cop, not a fireman, for that robbery.
That's a good one. Yeah, I thought Francis did enough to win it. I feel kind of bad for him because he hurt Marin in the first, right? And I believe he just handled him a little bit better in the second. But it sucks. It's unfortunate. Hopefully they give him another nice bounce back fight. And Marin got lucky. He got lucky considering that he didn't look too hot going into the third. But it sucks. But thankfully it's early enough in their careers where it's not going to hurt Francis. But we'll see what they do next. And I did not understand the scoring on this one, but I mean, then again, I did not think it was a terrible robbery, but it is what it is.
It sure was. Next up, Carlos Leal defeated Alex Morono by TKO strikes, 4 minutes 16 of round 1. Leal was the biggest favourite on the card. He just displayed relentless forward pressure, standing in the pocket, great head movement, rolling with punches, ripping the body, getting Morono to drop his hands. That set up the sequence that ended the fight. Morono was too tough to drop, but the referee stepped in to save him from further punishment. I'm not sure if that wasn't Keith. Never mind. Sorry, his name fled my mind there for it. Morono, too tough to drop, but the referee, Ozempic Keith Peterson, stepped in to save him from further punishment. With those odds, Leal gave the performance that was expected of him in this fight, I thought. No arguments, of course. Anything you guys want to say on this one?
Yeah, I could go. A great white shark is an apex predator underwater. Unfortunately, he was landlocked with a lion. That's what happened, guys. Yeah, man, I don't know if Carlos Leal is exactly a natural athlete. I don't know if he's eating all organic oats or if he's primarily dining on horse meat, but the guy is built like a Ninja Turtle. Yeah, freak of nature. Cardio, maybe still a bit of a question mark. We haven't really got to see how he looks when he pushes himself to the extent that he pushed himself to in this fight against Morono. But nevertheless, he got the W. Not really too impressive. Certainly not on the behalf of Morono, who probably needs to hang it up. Might be time for Morono to stick to the commentary down there in what is that, Fury FC in Texas. But I mean, a win for Leal, which does show he has some killer instincts. So Alex Moron, nobody's favorite fighter. That's that's our guy here. Morono gotta go though. See you later, pal.
Austin, you want to stick the knife in or anything?
You know what? I feel bad for Alex Morono because he looks like a guy who just doesn't like try super hard in the gym, and it looks like he just kind of shows up and just he either wins or he loses, man. Sometimes he has great nights, and sometimes he has really bad performances like tonight. But he was still trying. He's still trying because like Leal looked like a proper welterweight, and he looked like a lightweight that wasn't cutting weight, and a little bit of flab on the sides, you can tell. But it it I think I found myself screaming at the TV on this one because I'm like Keith Peterson is there, and the nonsense was had all throughout that closing execution against the cage, and because it was like 4 times that they could have stopped the fight. 4 times. Like he knocks him back, he nearly dies. He doesn't die. He gets up against the cage. He gets knocked down again, but he comes back up and he's not dead yet. He gets hurt. He's out on his feet, but the fucking guy's still swinging. And Keith Peterson's just watching him die in front of us. And we're looking at the fucking TV wondering, what are you doing? He's not. He can't. He's just swinging back at him instinct. This isn't a good thing. Let him fucking just stop the fight. And he's just like, no, I need to see him die. And sure enough, Alex fucking just gets deaded, and it's just like as he's still standing, and it's like, God damn it, we didn't need to see that, but yeah, sure shit was entertaining, but great for Leal. I think what this was him unleashing his anger from the robbery that happened in Saudi against Fakhretinov, and he said, "This time I need to kill the man," and he did. He did.
That could be it. Next up, we had Bruno Pereira defeating Armor Petrosian by submission armbar, 4:27 of round 2. This was a fun fight. We had double nut shots. The first one was just a clip. It was debatable if it actually was a nut shot. And then the second one by Petrosian absolutely split the posts, dropped Pereira. He spent the appropriate amount of time juggling his testicles and checking that there were two still there. And then they started the fight, and Mark Sprith jumped in with the LazyBed rule system and just took a point straight away, which was nice to see. We had Henry Cejudo, of course, tweeting that he wished Smith had refereed his fight. Then round 2, we had Petrosian. He stole the break, trying to claim that he'd been hit with a nut shot, although the replay showed that it wasn't. A little bit after that, Pereira charged in, got a takedown, switched over to getting Petrosian's back after, I think, some incident with cage grabbing. And then he slid off and eventually ended up getting a very nice armbar sub. I think this was the one that I got confused with earlier. So, yeah, very nice job by Pereira. Petrosian, another disappointment, I guess, in this one. And anyone want to say anything on this one particular?
Yeah, I'll take it because you had mentioned Henry. Fuck you, Henry. One of them was not fake, and the other one wasn't taking advantage of the fucking clock or the scoring system. So fuck you, doubly. And next time you fight, I hope they just take a point from you for fucking faking shit. But whatever. Not the eye poke. That was accidental. It is what it is. But you trying to fake the fucking nut shot? Get the fuck out of here, dude. Back to the fight. Bruno Ferreira is like a better version of Kelvin Gastelum. He's shorter for the division, but he's stocky as shit, and he's just as fun. But he's actually competent enough to continue winning, despite having been finished before. And he's not. He doesn't look like a natural middleweight. He looks like a welterweight who's not cutting weight, and he's still capable of winning these fights. I mean, hell, he knocked out RoboCop. He finished Petrosian. Interesting addition to this division, and I'm excited to see him whatever he does next. dude comes to fight, and he comes to bang, and freaking Petrosian, man, that's 2 in a row now, and both by finish. It's not looking good. Done.
Bruno Ferreira, man, Bruno Ferreira, tough guy to figure out. Tough guy to figure out for me because he's every time I think he's gonna win, he typically comes out and lays an egg, and every time I think he's gonna lose, he comes out and he clobbers a guy. And then he comes out against like somebody like Armin Petrosian, who I think that he's gonna have a stand-up war with, and he ends up on the ground with him, and he catches him in a fucking armbar and submits him. What were the fucking odds on that? I'd like to know. You pointed out a good thing there, Austin, about his size and the comparison to Kelvin Gastelum, because he does really kind of strike me as a tweener, a guy that would really, really benefit from some sort of a division between, welterweight and middleweight. I don't even know. Like, he's like a weird, like 174-pound boxer who like fits into some strange category because he's got that bizarre, odd body shape. Like, he looks like he could cut weight and lose some of that excess thickness he has, but the guy's got like humongous legs, and his whole lower body, his trunk is just massive. So I don't know if he can cut weight. He's just in a weird position where I think that size is going to come into play and go against him in some of his later fights. But man, did not see him catching Petrosian in an armbar. Really nice a win there, and for Petrosian, it might be like karate combat in your future, bud.
I don't know if that was like a zing at him or not.
A little bit of both. I mean, I think his skill set would fit good there, and then also like his record is just not. It's not cutting the mustard.
All right, that takes us on to the last fight that we're going to discuss. At flyweight, Joshua Van defeats Ray Tsuruya by unanimous decision, 30-27 across all 3 judges' cards. A couple of nice arm throws from Tsuruya, but they were just moments in a fight where Van's sprawls were on point, and he was just clearly the better striker throughout the fight. I think it was the 3rd round where Joe Rogan was given the post-nutshot acting class how to take as much time as possible and stop the crowd booing you to Tsuruya, which he didn't take any advice from it. He obviously got to overhear him on that one. Quite funny there from Joe in a rare moment. So in this fight, we had Van winning the martial arts battle. He was able to tie all the parts of his game together. Ray Tsuruya, he has elements, but he's nowhere near the complete article yet. And as this one had draft implications, I better pass it over to Austin.
Yes, is the other gentleman who had points available this evening, and didn't lose any.
Yeah, suck it.
Nice pick.
My boy Joshua Van holding up the goddamn line for us, giving me 15 points. Hell yeah. But yeah, the crazy part was that Tsuruya, he has a capability of being better than he is. He's limited with only his wrestling, and you want to cheer for a guy who's a good athlete, and he looks like a great athlete, but goddamn, is he fucking limited. And he seemed to only concede that he wasn't going to be able to strike, so his whole commitment was wrestle, which is never a good sign, especially when you face a guy who is well-rounded as Josh Van. Like, Joshua literally just said, fuck it, I don't give a shit. Looked like an old school Robbie Lawler out there, just fucking throwing them hands and just giving him no fucking space and just literally keeping the pressure. And then when he would get countered with the wrestling, you'd see him fight the clinch. He'd win the clinch battle, which is insane against a wrestler. That's great. That's why he's on my damn team. Also, eat shit, Lazy, because I remember you said you wanted him. But hell yeah, he's on my team. He gave me 15 points, and hell yeah, I'm up on the scoreboard finally. Damn it. Go, Josh, man. Yeah. Done.
That's the new sign off there. Done.
Yeah.
Oh,
Guess that's you,
boy.
Liza.
Yeah. This one was another example of the GIF I posted on Discord. You can't fix stupid. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing with this card. Apparently, I don't know how to fucking predict fights. I don't know anything about this sport. Despite what Austin said about me wanting Josh Van in the draft, because I know how good he is, I took Ray Saruya in the predictions, and I got made to look like a goddamn fool because he couldn't do jack fucking shit. A couple of fun takedowns of a peculiar nature that were kind of cool to watch, but other than that, I mean, the guy had absolutely nothing for Mr. Van. Yeah, Josh Van, though, on the other hand, really, really sharp, really fucking crisp body strikes. The way that guy works the fucking body is awesome to see in MMA. Something that often goes overlooked in this sport that we really could benefit from more fighters adding to their repertoires. But nevertheless, yeah, big time win for the Astro Van here, the Dodge Caravan, whatever you want to call them. And yeah, Austin, you can suck it. Ray Saruya, you can suck it. Another example of the O's disappearing. DangerMouse, you and your don't bet against the O can suck it too. I can't fucking believe this shit. The fuck?
Don't bet against the O. He's so 2024 lazy. You've got to catch up now.
Get with the times.
Exactly. Yeah, well, I guess that just about wraps it up from us. We do, of course, have one more thing to do, and that is score the card. So let's hear from everybody on this card. And as he headed the main event, he has to be passed over to Lazy on this one.
Oh.
I don't think we're going to get I'm not sure we're going to get Austin's optimism, but let's hear from the man who had the most to lose on this card and did.
Yeah, well, we certainly ain't gonna get much fucking optimism from me. That's a fact. Well, let me gather my thoughts here for a moment. What did we really see? We saw the crowning of a new champion, a champion that we're not really sure how often we're going to see, which means another title that won't be defended very regularly. It means another division that's likely going to be held up and become somewhat stagnant, although it is the rightful contender and the man that many believed was the uncrowned champion for a long time. We also seen a legend of the game that's not long left for the sport get a much needed bounce back W. And Justin Gaethje, huge fan favorite. Relatively fun fight sprinkled throughout the card. We did see, as previously mentioned, a knockout of the year contender from the top team in MMA right now, the Fighting Nerds. Shout out, great team. Wonder who drafted most of them. Probably would be me. Did not draft Ruffy though.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways, yeah, I'm
Probably the
rambling
man
on
on
here because
85 points, not the 135 points he was expecting.
yeah, I'm waffling because I don't know what I want to give it. It was fun, but yeah, a bit too slow for me, and I did not enjoy the results of that main event. So I'm gonna go average, run of the mill, right in the middle. Give me a 5.
Ooh, coming in quite harsh.
Salty bitch.
It's not as much as a shock as last week's, but go on, Austin.
Yeah.
I'll give you the chance to defend this one while I arrange my.
All right.
Result.
That is not going to be very difficult. This gymnastic score could have probably been like a 6.5, I would say. Like, that's what it could have been. But a handful of things that I didn't expect. One, Megan O'Leary being on the broadcast and, also still being pregnant and still doing her job. Shout out to Megan O'Leary and Joseph Benavides. And the card itself wasn't bad. I would have said it was good. The main event didn't help, but, neither here nor there. Anytime Lazy loses points is awesome.
Amen.
And the great part about this card wasn't even so much the card itself, but Robbie Lawler getting into the UFC Hall of fucking Fame. The reaction that man had alone. When you can see somebody who had never really shown emotion twice when he was shouted out at the end of his career, and now like they literally, I think, caught him in the crowd, and he's saying to the guy next to him, I think he was saying, "You got me," saying like, "I didn't realize they were going to do this. I would like he probably wouldn't have come had he known." And that's awesome. By itself is awesome. So I'm going to say 7.5 for me. And you know what? Fuck it. Let's go 8 just for that. Why not?
Ooh.
Also because I got points. That also helps.
Yeah.
God
I did
damn
not
it.
see the. I did not see the Robbie Lawler thing at all. I'm afraid the source of my replay let me down on that one.
You would have loved it. It was great. They did a whole thing for him. He was getting emotional in the crowd, and it was fucking great. I loved it. I loved every second of it.
Has he retired
was-
now? Or officially?
Yeah, no, he had his last fight, and then he just retired after that, and then this was his induction into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he won, didn't he, in his last fight? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
but he's retired from the UFC, but there is speculation of him versus Mike Perry in BKFC. So
Okay.
God, I hope you're wrong.
yeah, me too.
All right, just looking at his card, we ended up with 10 fights on it rather than the 12 we were promised. We had 6 decisions, 4 by finish of one description or another. Mauricio Ruffy, that amazing spinning wheel kick, that's got to add a little bit onto the card, but not a huge amount because he only won finish at the end of the day. Carlos Leal was a nice finish. Pereira was a very nice finish. Ignacio Bahamonde is Lazy's favorite guy. Again, nice finish, but yeah, I'm not going to vacillate too much on it. I think also circumstance might play a part into my score because I didn't watch it live. I had to scramble around today to try and get to watch it, and so I didn't have much time to absorb and digest things as I would normally. So I will just give it a straight 6. Straight 6.
Y'all some fucking haters out here.
I'm debating. Tell you what, Austin, seeing as I like you today more than I like Lazy, because I want to punish Lazy some more for taking my -5 points. I'll add that -5 points onto my score and give it a 6.5. There you go.
Yeah.
It's a win for Austin, unlike his microphone.
I give the Robbie Lawler retirement a 10, but I give the card 5. So how about that?
That's good to know. Well, fuck, that's about it from us. Time for us to hit the yellow brick road and let the curtains close on another episode of Just Bleed Radio. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and peace, we're out of it. I need a drink because I've been hosting this one and I'm not allowed to drink when I'm hosting, so I'm out of it. Say goodbye, guys.
Shout out Mrs. Walton, we love you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Walton. Good night, Mrs. Walton.
Good night, John Boy.
Great job, guys.
Holy fucking shit.
I'm sorry if I ran over slightly, Dave, but I did my best.
I'm stopping recording right now. So-
Okay.
Do
In
it.
that case. Fuck
Do
you,
it.
Dave.
Did you say Burt Kreischer was the most Make-A-Wish guy ever?
No, John Cena. Were you not paying attention?
Oh, did we lose Mouse?
No.
No, he's in the room.
No, Mouse was just muted.
That's 2 stories, 45 seconds. World record.
That's awesome.
Have you ever seen the Waltons?
Yeah, I've
Seen
the
the handful.
He's
Oh
simple.
man, the mom on that show, she's like a celebrity crush.
Really?
Yeah,
I'll have to go back.
Mrs.
And
Walton?
yeah. She's got a black belt.
Wow.
Body karate.
Yeah.
The original Karate Hottie, yeah. Mrs. Walton. Night, John
And
boy.
ready to go.
Yeah, count me in, Dave.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I'm feeling all this energy. I wanna get bucked up.